Hello vinyl community, Happy New Year.
Nay, had I power.
Yes, the vinyl tag 2022 is here. I know you're used to the record crate, but everyone's been wondering where he is, the vinyl crate. Is he dead? Has he disappeared? He's obviously not dead. He's busy with some other stuff. We see him on IG, Instagram. But let's be honest, we want it, and we want it fast. So here it is, Stunt Rock Confusion providing you the first 2022 vinyl tag for the vinyl community. First question: show the first record you bought in 2021, in the past year. The very first record that got into your hands in the past year. For me, apart from a record I got in the mail that was sent before, first record I chose is this Cheb Khaled, the Prince of High, the Northern African music that was so popular in France and around the world. He had this hit called Didi. Certainly not my favorite track, but this is records you can probably still find for cheap. It kind of defies a little bit of our notions of Western music rhythms, but it's still popular music. The last record you got in 2021, this is what's playing. I showcased it in my latest video. Now I've been fully embracing it. It's the latest Nurse with Wound record, Backside, featuring Bladder Flask. This this was super limited, but yeah, the cover is an original painting by Steven Stapleton from Nurse with Wound. So each copy of this is unique. There's only like 100 copies of it. Nurse with Wound has started to custom us with this kind of tactics. Well, I'm a fan, as you will probably realize if you don't already have. Next, show Pre-Order Adventure, a record you ordered long before its release, that you really ordered it online on Bandcamp, on the website's on the band's page, whatever. So this is Russian Son, C-O-H, Ko. This is his album from, that came out last year. Music Vo. It was also quite limited. There was like, I think 102 copies of this, 2 pressings, one each of 51 copies. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. C-O-H was a regular collaborator of Coil, especially Peter Christopherson, under their project called Soy Song. Next, show a cheapo you got in 2021. This is a compilation from the 180 group, which is a percussion group from Hungary. This features tracks by Steve Reich, Frederick Revsky, Mario Melis, I think, and also a track by Tibor Zemzo, which is absolutely fantastic. Like a wonderful minimalism track that is very, very dear to me now for various reasons. Some highly personal, and mostly because it's a great piece of music. most expensive record you bought in 2020? The most money you paid for a record? Well, I'll have to go back to Nurse with Wound again, and the one I showed you wasn't especially cheap, but this one took the cake. Number 20 out of 25. It's a double LP with also original artwork collage, exclusive to each copy you got. This is the soundtrack to a movie, and yeah, this was not easy to get. The Dream of Reason Brings Forth Monsters. I won't go into how much this cost me, but this was by far the most expensive record I bought this past year, and it's in the top 3 of the most expensive records I ever got. And it's a brand new record also. And of course it's a special edition, but that's the only edition that exists on vinyl. So there you go, if you are like me, a little bit prejudiced. Yeah, that was a hard bullet to bite. Show a record from a band, a brand new artist you got in 2021. An artist that had released no album before, and that wasn't part of any other project. Or if you don't have anything that works that way, if you got something from a brand new project from an artist who already exists, fine. But me, I choose John Glacier. John Glacier. His Chilo album, Lost for Words. This is rap, hip-hop, cloud rap record. That was very easy on the ear. Quite a little weird, but quite catchy. Quite a short album with very short tracks, because it's a one-sided LP. The other side is an etching. I believe there will be a way to show it to you. Anyways, that was my favorite album of a brand new artist, I guess. Promising. Alright. Show the most out of your comfort zone record you got last year. A record in a genre or from artists that you really don't have any kinship with, that you finally anyway got last year. The Jacksons. Not even the Jackson 5. The Jacksons' Triumph with this amazing track, Can You Feel It? Which I actually fell in love with the video. I don't like music videos usually, but the Bob Abel video for Triumph, Can You Feel It? Is just, it reminds me of the work of what's his name? The Phase 4 guy. The guy who did the pre-opening credits sequences for Hitchcock. The name escapes me. Anyways, great cheap purchase, of course. Next, at number... let's skip a little bit and show your pride dig of 2021. The record, it doesn't need to be the cheapest, the most expensive, but just the one that you were like, oh, so good that I got this. For me, it was this. Ennio Morricone's Gestazione. This is an original composition from Ennio Morricone. This is not a soundtrack, and this is not part of his Il Gruppo Di Improvisazione Nuova Consonanza, which I love, but this is way more drony, experimental, like very core, modern classical. Gestazione is very cool, but the B-sides, Totem Secondo, that's really what got me into this. And I found this in my hometown, in Stockholm, so I had been after this, I had never been able to listen to this, and boy was I in for a surprise. Show a record from a genre you recently started to get fully, that you recently started to fully embrace. That you knew about it, you maybe liked some of it, but you didn't like really have a focus on it. But now, since that record, when you go to a record store, that's a section you will be digging. Reggae. Dandy Livingstone. His album for Trojan from, I believe this is from, is it early 80s or late 70s? I think it's late 70s, but I might be wrong on this. Anyways, this and most of the reggae that is on the side of Lovers Rock has been really an obsession of mine this past year, and for the foreseeable future. I've always liked some reggae, but I've always been quite peculiar with the reggae I like. And now I finally have found exactly what interests me in that music genre, and this is most definitely one of the best records in reggae I've ever heard. I've still got a lot to discover, but I'm getting fast there. Show the coolest or your favorite cover art that you got in 2021. Hopefully a record from 2021. If you didn't get such a record that you really fell in love with the cover, show your favorite cover or a favorite cover. For me, Walter Maioli, with the cool OB that is almost part of the artwork. So Walter Maioli is like an Italian musician. He was part of various collectives of like fourth world music, bordering on new age, ethnographical, sometimes a little bit avant-garde, electroacoustic, industrial. And this is these are recordings that were unreleased to the best of my knowledge until now, on vinyl at least. And this is absolutely fantastic record, one of my favorite records of this year as well. But the cover, I like this bronze, pink, minimal layout so much. The record is called Il suono della api, la vibrazione del cosmo. Alright, so next, show a record from your youth that you finally got on wax for the first time in 2021, last year. Or the closest to that equation. An indie band from the late 80s, early 90s that I really liked, not necessarily my favorite, but I got a CD version of this. It's the Pale Saints. The Pale Saints is a band that, an indie band, kind of shoegaze, that I liked, but they rarely did an album or record with many tracks I loved. Usually there was one track I really liked, and that was it. But with time, distance, I grew a stronger affection and appreciation for the music. And this is an EP that I felt for quite some time now I really wanted to get. And here it is, I got it. With a little help from a dear viewer of this channel, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby, for facilitating this transition between a seller and me. Next, your most anticipated release of 2022. Happy New Year! For me, it's a record that is going to be released in February on a Swiss French label called Mental Groove. It's the first vinyl issue of this. The Threshold Houseboys Choir. Form grows rampant. The Threshold Houseboys Choir is Peter Christopherson from Coil. It's post-Coil material, post-Coil meaning after John Balance died. This is a record he did in Thailand, where he moved, and it's also a movie, a DVD, a documentary art project around street kids in Thailand, going into trance in a religious ritual involving live piercings. So the movie is quite difficult to watch. The music is almost elegiac, with some very clever use of auto-tuning. And this is going to be released as a 2 LP, I think, by Mental Groove. The pre-order has been open for a couple of months, I think. It was an instant buy for me. So there it is. Next, show a record that you used to love, but you haven't given so much love of late. So a record that is a good opportunity to get reacquainted with, and why not for the first time right now, after you watch this video and you decide to take part in the vinyl tag. There are a few electronic dance music producers that I really revere. LFO is one of them. LFO committed, in my opinion, the best album ever in pop music. Frequencies, 14 tracks, 14 winners. There's no albums like that for me. It's the only album I like from start to end, each single track, when it's a real album of pop music, more than like 6 tracks. So this is Luke Slater. This is his Planetary Assault Systems, the third album, I guess, under that guise. Archangel. This came out in like 5 or 6 years ago on Ost Good Tone, the label of the famous Berlin club Berghain. Even if I like his work under his own name, Luke Slater, which is quite straight up techno, I prefer his another project of his called The Seventh Plane, which is way more ambient-ish, drony, very beautiful. And this album is kind of right in between these two poles in his music. This track that we're listening to right now, Message from the Drone Sector, I just love it, how it just flows from one pad to the other. And yes, it's a record that I talk a lot about, that I think a lot about, but I realized I hadn't listened to this for a couple of years. Shame on me, shame on me. Did I miss something? Let me double check. No. Next, show a record you got from your family that you still like and that you kept. So this I got from my mom. I believe it's an original pressing of Donovan's Universal Soldier. I really like Donovan. It's like probably the earliest pop folk music I've encountered, and to this day I still really like this. There's quite a few songs on this that really do it for me. I don't listen to that very often, but it's a must-have in my collection. Next, show a record that opened a new path in in your collection, a turning point of sorts. Like a genre of music you hadn't really, either you weren't aware of, and that instantly became something massive for you, or that just made you start to look at your own collection in a different way. So I'll show two, because one of the major ones for me, that was a long time ago, that was this Bernard Parmigiani's Deux en dehors. This is musique concrète. When I discovered this in, I believe in 23 years ago, I rethought everything I knew about electronic music. I thought I knew a lot about it. I knew very little about it, but I knew even less than I thought. And this put me in a decade-long crisis about my own music making, which was pretty dramatic, but pretty good and pretty healthy in the long run. But I want to show this that I've shown a few times, because this is really the year for folkloric traditional music from Hungary, for me, from the Transylvania. This is Hello Nipsen. This is one part of the 5 LP series on a Hungaroton, but various modern band reinventing traditional folk music, dance music from the villages of Transylvania, and boy did I open a big rabbit hole. I think I bought a good 20-25 records in that genre since I really decided I want to investigate this. Next, show a 2021 non-record music purchase. A book or whatever, just something related to music, but that is not a record, not a CD, not a cassette, not a vinyl record that you bought and that gives you joy. Of course, for me, it's this. There was a few books, and I don't buy DVDs anymore for movies, but I bought this DVD, 500 copies limited. It's quite old now. It's Pram short movies and videos. Pram is my favorite pop band of the 90s, and they used to have like movie projections during their shows in the 2000s, and the guy who did them was part-time member of the band. This is a collection of all the visual installations, short movies, and videos he did for Pram. And yeah, I got this from a seller who I was purchasing something else from, and I saw that he had this, and let's finish this Pram obsession of mine. Next, show an older band you missed out before 2021. A band that existed and that you had totally bypassed, and you bought a record of theirs for the very first time in you got a record of them for the first time the past year, that really made an impact on you. For me, it would be a band from a viewer of this stream who was in a pretty famous 80s pop band, indie band, and who had like a 90s project that didn't get as much love as the previous one. And this is a Northern Picture Library, which I was very happy and very lucky to get the records from the artist himself. He only had like the white label of the album, so I redrew the whole cover of it myself as good as I could, which was fun. This is some kind of I guess Cocteau Twin, Seafield influenced, very atmospheric, almost ambient-ish, experimental pop music. Very abstract, lots of sound waves. Really, really cool record. Thanks Bobby for that. So the record you got in the past year that took you the longest to file from your want list, a record that you had for years and years in your want list that you were seeking, that you knew existed and you hoped you'd find it, or you hoped you'd buy it for a good price, and last year was the year you got it. For me, it was this. It was a record by Laurie Spiegel. Laurie Spiegel is mostly known for her The Expanding Universe, one of the most celebrated electronic music albums from a female composer from 1980, I believe. This is a reissue, an expanded 3 LP version of this from a few years ago. That is absolutely a must-have if you're into her first album, which is really already a must-have in itself. And this album on the Table of the Elements label, they did a series of one-sided albums with a picture kind of etching on one side. There's a John Fahey record in that same series, one by Zina Parkins, and it was a great series. And it's not necessarily super expensive, but it's quite difficult to find, quite rare. And yeah, I just wanted to get it, a good copy of this, and here it is. Now, something I forgot. Or a different section, kind of section. A record you got as a present last year. VCLT or just a present. For me, I choose a record I should have shown a long time ago. A record that I got from another viewer and fellow VC member and dear friend of mine, Alex. Thank you for drawing a gigantic cock on the cover of the Iatrogenics album that I have been after for 20 years or so, 15 years. A record I thought I needed, and then I thought I didn't need, and then I thought, actually I could use it. And Alex found a dead stock of it, and most generously sent me a package of VCLT that included this, and I had to to repay him for. So, as I have an upcoming long announced contest that will involve something that Alex kind of hints at. This is like a college band of experimental electronic music, collage tape music, and yeah, that was great. Now a record that you would like to VCLT someone, a record that you would like to give as a gift to a fellow VC member. You can say to whom. I'm not sure yet, but this record from this is a compilation of Irena and Wojciech Havlovi, Melodies in the Sand. That was released on, it's a brand new label. I believe it's like a record shop that started this. It's a duo of folk musicians from Czechoslovakia, I think. I'm not sure. They have released stuff since the early 80s, and it borders between ambient, folk music, traditional music, ethnographical, and it's all acoustic, and it's some of the luscious music you will ever hear. Beautiful sound, beautiful record as well. Now a couple of subsidiary questions, just in case you were not able to answer to any of these questions for whatever reason. A record that you bought not because of the artist, the featured artist. Basically that you don't necessarily care for it for the name artist, but maybe because the producer you like, sound engineer, a featuring. For me, that would be Anodyne, just because it features an Autechre remix. And yeah, it's for me, any record featuring Autechre is a must buy, and the remixes often are my favorite kind of music of theirs. So that was one of the two 2021 Autechre remixes that got released on Wax. So here it is. Next, one of these subsidiary questions, a record that no one seems to have noticed and that you want to share with everyone. Rob Walmart, a triple LP of the weirdest pop, dada collage, joyful, funny, beautiful, edgy. I think it's like a collective from Portland, and they're related with Volcano the Beer, I believe, or Jackie or Motherfucker, sorry. And this whole scene, also Strategy, the whole scene from Portland. And this record, someone gave it to me, and I mean, I was suspicious of it for quite some time before I fully, really decided to delve into it, and I discovered one of my favorite records of the 2000s. So here it is. And to end it on a good note, show a record that makes you want to dance. For me, this is a remix service from the Razor-Made company, like a remix service label that was doing exclusive remixes for DJs. This is of the Shaman, the British band, the track Amigo, like a crossover indie dance band from the early 90s, late 80s from the UK. And this has been like a timeless favorite of mine. I love to close my DJ sets with this track, and yeah, this is just like dreamy rave music with an indie edge, which is where I come from. So this was perfect for me. So there you go. You got like 25 questions for the 2022 vinyl tag for the vinyl community. Only answer the 22 most suited to you. Obviously the 22 first in this selection, but if you feel that like you struggle with one or a couple of these questions, you have these fallback questions. So there it is. Let's not go too overboard, and I pass the baton to just about anyone, and thanks everyone from Davis, Rachel, Bobby, Steve Davis, Paul, Romulo, Niels, Ea, Roger. All of you guys have inspired me this whole year, and I hope I'll continue to be inspired by you and our fellow new members that are bound to happen. Happy New Year, guys. The Vinyl Tag 2021. All right, bye.